Hello students, welcome to Study Circle. This video is intended for those students who are going to appear for class 12 CBSE board exams for history subjects. So, today we are going to read Theme 2 Chapter 7 and Imperial Capital Vijayanagar 14th century to 16th century. So, I request you, if you are new to my channel, please do like, share and subscribe. So, what is important in this topic is that the first topic of this chapter is Rise and Fall of Vijayanagar Empire. This video is completely for revision purpose. So, if you want to do revision, then this video is very useful for you. So, without wasting much time, let's start. What is in Rise and Fall of Vijayanagar Empire is that Vijayanagar means city of victory, was the name of both a city as well as an empire. It was founded in 1336 by two brothers named Harihara and Bukka. In its heydays, it stretched from the river Krishna in the north to the extreme south of the peninsula. Vijayanagar was attacked and plundered in 1565 century. Though it was completely destroyed till 17th to 18th centuries, it lived with memories of people living in the Krishna Tungabhadra Dwab. People remembered it as Hampi, a name derived from the mother goddess Pampa Devi. These traditions, along with archaeological findings, monuments, and inscriptions, help scholars to rediscover Vijayanagar Empire. The ruins of Hampi were brought to light in 1800th century by engineer and cartographer named Colin Mackenzie. He prepared the first survey map of this site. The information that he received was based on the memories of priest of Birupaksha temple and the shrine of Pampa Devi. The Vijayanagara Empire included within its fluctuating frontiers people who spoke different languages and followed different religious traditions. On the northern frontiers, they competed with the Sultan of Deccan and the Gajapati rulers of Orissa. The ruler of Vijayanagara, who called themselves Rayas, built temples on the tradition of Cholas in Tamil Nadu and Hoysalas in Karnataka and carried them to new heights. During 14th to 16th centuries, wars were based on cavalry, due to which horses were important. Quality horses were imported from Arabia and Central Asia, and this trade was initially controlled by Arabs. Local merchants also participated in the trade. From 1498th century, Portuguese traders arrived on the west coast of subcontinent and attempted to establish trading and military centers. They used muskets efficiently, enabling them to become an important player with tangled politics during that period. Vijayanagara was well known for its spices, textiles, and precious stones, and there was a great demand for this among the elites. The revenue derived from the trade contributed significantly to the prosperity of the state. Sangama dynasty was the first dynasty that ruled over Vijayanagar till 1485 CE. Sangams were overthrown by Suluba's military commanders and they remained in power till 1503 CE. They were replaced by Tulubas. Krishnadevaraya was the most famous king of Tuluba dynasty. Krishnadevaraya's rule was characterized by expansion and consolidation. He conquered the region between the rivers of Tungabhadra and Krishna till 1512th century, that is Raichur Doab. Then later on he subdued the rulers of Orissa and defeated the Sultan of Bijapur in 1520th century. Krishnadevaraya built and contributed some of the finest temples, adding impressive gopurams to many temples in South India. He also found a suburban township of Nagalapuram near Vijayanagara and after his mother's name. After his death, strength shared with the imperial structure. It was controlled by another ruling lineage in the end, Aravidu in 1542 century, which ruled till the end of 17th century. In 1565, Ramaraya, the chief of Vijayanagara, went into the Battle of Rakshasi Tangadi, also known as Battle of Talikota, where he was defeated by the joint forces of Bijapur, Ahmednagar and Golconda. The victorious armies attacked and plundered the city of Vijayanagar. The city was totally abandoned within a few years. It was a policy of Ram Raya who tried to play off one sultan against another that led the sultans to combine longer and defeat him. That led the sultans to combine together and defeat him. Among those who excused power in the empire were military chiefs called Nayakas. They spoke Telugu or Kannada and constantly moved in search of fertile constantly moved in search of fertile land. Many Nayakas often rebelled and subdued by military action. The Amar Nayaka system was one of the major political innovations of the Vijayanagar kingdom. There exists a probability that many features of this system were derived from the Ikta system of Delhi Sultanate. The Amar Nayakas were military commanders. They were given different territories to govern by the Rayas. They used to collect taxes and revenue from the peasants, artisans, and traders. Part of the revenue was kept by them for personal use and also to maintain horses and elephants. Rest was given to the treasury of the kingdom, and these contingents helped the king to control the entire peninsula. They also appeared in person and expressed their loyalty by giving tributes and gifts to the royal courts. Now come to the next topic, that is Vijayanagara, the capital and its environs. What is important in this topic is that Vijayanagara, like most capitals, was featured by a distinctive physical layout and building style. The most prominent feature of Vijayanagara was the natural basin formed by the river Tungbhadra, which flows in northeasterly direction. The surrounding landscape is characterized by stunning granite hills, and number of streams flow down to the river from these rocky hills. Embankments were built along with these streams to create reservoirs, and rainwater was also harvested. The most important tank built in the 15th century is now called Kamalapuram tank. Water was used from this tank not only for irrigation but was also for transmitted through a channel to the royal center. Hiria Canal was one of the most prominent waterworks. Abdul Razak, an ambassador sent by the rulers of Persia to Calicut in the 15th century, mentions 7 lines of forts, which fortified not only the city but also agricultural land and forest. The outermost wall of city linked the hills surrounding the city. No cementing agent or mortar was used. Archaeologists found evidences of agricultural fields between religious center and urban center. The main purpose of medieval sieges was to starve the defenders into submission. These sieges could last for many months and even for years, which was the reason that rulers built grand granaries within fortified areas. A second line of fortification went around the inner part of the urban center, and the royal center was surrounded by third line of fortification. Well-guarded gates were built which linked the city to the major roads. Gateways were distinctive architectural features. Some of the important roads extended from the temple gateways and were lined by markets or bazaars. There was less archaeological evidence of the houses of ordinary people. Archaeologists found Chinese porcelain in few areas. Tombs and mosques situated here have distinctive functions, but their architectural features resembles the mandaps of Hampi city. Field surveys indicate that the number of shrines and small temples were there in urban areas belonging to different cults, supported by different communities. Surveys indicate that well, rainwater tank and temple tanks were probably the source of water to the ordinary people. Royal Center included more than 60 temples, and it was important for rulers to patronize the temples and the cults. The King's Place was the largest enclosure in royal residence and had 2 platforms called the Audience Hall and the Mahanabhi Dimma. Lotus Mahal was the most magnificent building in the royal center, named by British travelers in 19th century. Mackenzie suggested it could probably had been a council chamber where king met his advisors. Hazar Rama temple was one of the most spectacular temple and probably meant to be used by the king and his family. When the city was sacked, many structures of Vijayanagara were destroyed, but Nayakas built many palatial structures. Now come to the topic 3, the sacred centers. What is important in this topic is that, according to local belief, the northern and rocky hill of the city on the banks of Tungbhadra sheltered the monkey kingdom of Bali and Sugriva mentioned in Ramayana. According to other tradition, Pampa Devi, the local mother goddess, did penance in these hills to marry Virupaksha, incarnation of Shiva and the guardian deity of the kingdom. It is probable that the choice of the site of Vijayanagara was inspired by the existence of the shrines of Virupaksha and Pampa Devi. In fact, the Vijayanagara king claimed to rule on behalf of the god Virupaksha, and all royal orders were signed Sri Virupaksha in Kannada script. Royal portraits and sculptures were displayed in temples, and the king's visit to temples were treated as important state occasions, accompanied by Nayakas of the empire. New features were evident in the temple architecture. These included structures which were the symbol of imperial authority, and the most beautiful example are the royal gopurams or royal gateways. The Virupaksha temple was built over centuries ago. The inscription suggests that the earliest temple was dated back to 9 to 10 centuries ago. It was enlarged after the establishment of Vijayanagar Empire. Krishnadevaraya built the hall, decorated with carved pillars, and also constructed the first ever gopura. The halls in the temple were multi-purpose. Some of the space was occupied with images of God for special programs in music, dance, drama, etc. Other halls were used to celebrate the marriage of deities and swinging of deities. Special images were used on these occasions but were different from those placed at main shrine. Another important shrine was the Vithala temple. The main god Vithala, the incarnation of Lord Vishnu, is worshipped in Maharashtra. The main feature of temple complex was the chariot street, which are extended from the temple gopuram in a straight line. The floors of these streets are made of stone slabs lined with pillared pavilions in which traders set up their shops. Buildings that survived share the experiences of how they were built, what material and techniques were used, and for what purpose were they built. There were no inscriptions as to what the common people thought about the architectural buildings. Information of travelers' accounts, inscription, and the initial surveys of Mackenzie were put together. In 20th century, this place came under the protection of Archaeological Survey of India and the Karnataka Department of Archaeology and Museum. Now it's time to know the important terms of this chapter. So the first word is the Gajapati. Gajapati means the Lord of Elephants. That means the ruling lineage in Orissa. Asapati, the lord of horses, that is Deccan Sultans. Narapati means lord of men, that means the Rayas. Yavana is a Sanskrit word used for Greeks and other people who entered the subcontinent from the northwest. Amara is a Sanskrit word that means Amara meaning battle or war. It also resembles the Persian term Amir, which means a high noble. Gopuram. In South India, the main entrance of the temple is called Gopuram. Shikhar is the top roof of the temples, and Garbhagriha is the center room where the main deity is placed. Mandapas is the pavilions and long pillared corridors that often run around the shrines within the temple complex. Shadinama means the wedding songs. Now it's time to know the important dates. So, what happens in 1200 to 1300 century is the establishment of Delhi Sultanate. 1300 to 1400 century it is the establishment of Vijaynagar Empire. Another event happens, that establishment of the Bahmani kingdom. Sultanates in Jaunpur, Kashmir and Madura also established, and Kashmir and Madura established there. Again, what happens in 1400 to 1500 century, the establishment of Gajapati kingdom of Odisha. Establishment of Sultanates of Gujarat and Malwa, and emergence of Sultanates of Ahmednagar and Bijapur and Berar. Next, between 1500 to 1600 century, the conquest of Goa by the Portuguese. Now it's time to collapse of Bahmani kingdom and emergence of Sultanate of Golconda. Establishment of Mughal Empire by Babur. In 1800 century, Colin Mackenzie visits Vijayanagar. 1856, Alexander Greenlaw takes the first detailed photograph of archaeological remains at Hampi, and in 1876, it's J.F. Phillip who begins documenting the inscription on the temple walls at the site. 1902, conservation begins under John Marshall, and 1986, Hampi declared a World Heritage Site by UNESCO. This is the summary of this whole chapter, and it is very, very important for your revision. So, if you like this video, then please do like, share, subscribe my channel. Thank you very much.